Smart home devices were supposed to make your home safer. A lock you can control from your phone. A camera that sends you alerts. A doorbell that shows you who is outside. A voice assistant that manages everything from the lights to the thermostat to the front door. Your home. Your devices. Your control. Except control requires security. And security requires that only you have access. These are 3 stories from 3 people who discovered that someone else had access to their smart home devices. Someone who used that access carefully, deliberately, over months. One of them discovered her security system had been disarming itself on a precise schedule while she was out. One of them discovered someone had been accessing the camera in their baby's room every night for 3 weeks. And one of them discovered his voice assistant had been receiving commands at 2 a.m. while he slept, commands mapping his home, his routine, and his locks. Check your smart home access logs after this. Every device, every account, every session you did not start. My security system was disarming itself every Tuesday and Thursday evening between 7 and 9 p.m. Always exactly 2 hours. Always using my account credentials. Always while I was out. I had not disarmed it. I checked the disarm log when I noticed the pattern. 3 of those Tuesday and Thursday evenings I had been at the gym, at a friend's house, at a work event. My house was unprotected for 2 hours on each of those evenings and I had not done it. Someone was using my credentials to disarm my security system on a schedule. Let me tell you what I found when I went looking for who. My name is Donna and I have lived alone in my house for 4 years. I had the smart home security system installed 2 years ago, a decision I made specifically because I live alone and I wanted the additional security. Cameras at the front door and back garden. Motion sensors on the ground floor. A smart alarm that I could arm and disarm from my phone. The specific peace of mind of a system that was supposed to keep me safe. The disarming pattern caught my attention by accident. I was reviewing my phone notifications one Sunday afternoon, clearing old alerts, the routine maintenance of a phone that accumulates notifications faster than I clear them. I noticed several alarm disarm notifications from the previous 2 weeks. More than I expected. I opened the security app and looked at the disarm log. 7:03 p.m. Disarmed. Duration 2 hours. Rearmed 9:02 p.m. 7:01 p.m. Disarmed. Duration 2 hours. Rearmed 9:03 p.m. 6:58 p.m. Disarmed. Duration 2 hours. Rearmed 8:59 p.m. The pattern was precise. Tuesday and Thursday. Between 7 and 9. Every week for 6 weeks. I went back through my diary. Tuesday 3 weeks ago, gym until 8:30. Thursday 2 weeks ago, dinner at my friend Sarah's, home after 10. Tuesday last week, work leaving event, home after 9:30. 3 evenings I knew with certainty I had been out when my security system disarmed. 3 evenings I had not disarmed it. I looked at the account that had performed the disarms. My account. My credentials. My username on every single disarm entry. I sat with this for a while. My first thought was that I had disarmed it and forgotten. People forget things. I disarm my system regularly when I come home. It is an automatic action performed without much conscious thought. But automatic actions do not happen when you are not home. I was not home on those 3 evenings. I could not have disarmed a system I was not present to disarm. My second thought was a technical error, the app performing an automated action I had inadvertently configured. I went through every setting in the app. I found no scheduled disarm setting. I found no automation rule. I found nothing that would explain a recurring Tuesday and Thursday disarm. My third thought was the one I did not want to have. Someone else had my credentials. I called the security company. A technician accessed my account remotely while I was on the phone. He reviewed the disarm log and the account activity. He confirmed every disarm was performed manually, not by an automated rule, by a deliberate login and disarm action. He confirmed the logins came from a device he did not recognize on my account. Not my phone. A different device. He asked me if I had shared my login credentials with anyone. I said no. He asked if I had clicked any suspicious links in emails recently. I thought about an email 4 months ago. A message that appeared to come from the security company asking me to verify my account details through a link. I had clicked it. I had entered my username and password. I had been in a hurry. I had not checked the sender address carefully. The technician said, that was probably it. A phishing email. My credentials entered on a fake page. 4 months of someone having my username and password for my home security system. 4 months of access. 6 weeks of a Tuesday and Thursday schedule. I asked the technician why Tuesday and Thursday. He said he did not know. He said whoever had the credentials had chosen those specific evenings for a specific reason. He said the 2-hour window was consistent with someone who knew my routine. I asked him how they would know my routine. He paused. He said, if they have access to your camera footage, they would know your routine. My security cameras. My cameras that were connected to the same account as my alarm. The same account whose credentials had been compromised for 4 months. I changed my credentials immediately. I enabled 2-factor authentication. I reviewed the camera footage access log. The footage had been viewed remotely 43 times over 4 months. By a device I did not recognize. I do not know who had my credentials. I do not know why Tuesday and Thursday. I do not know what the 2 hours were for. My house showed no signs of entry. Nothing was taken. Nothing was moved. The cameras showed nothing unusual during daylight hours. I do not know what happened during those 2-hour windows on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. I do not know if anything happened. I know that for 6 weeks my house was unprotected on a precise schedule and I did not know and someone did know. That is what I know. Donna's story is about a security system used against her on a schedule. The next story is about a device in a room where the most vulnerable person in the house was sleeping. And about a couple who only found out because of something their baby was doing every night at 2 a.m. The access logs showed an external device connecting to our baby monitor every night for 3 weeks. Between 1:45 a.m. and 2:15 a.m. 30 minutes. Every night. Our daughter had been waking up crying at 2 a.m. every night for 3 weeks and we had been calling it a sleep regression. It was not a sleep regression. Someone had been accessing the camera in our baby's room every single night. The camera had been panning across the room. The night vision switching on and off. The two-way audio activating from an external device. Someone had been in our daughter's room every night for 3 weeks. My name is James and this happened 18 months ago when our daughter was 7 months old. I want to say first that our daughter is completely fine. She has no memory of any of this. She is a healthy, happy toddler. I say this because I know how this story sounds and I want to be clear that she is okay before I tell you what we found. The sleep regression started, or what we thought was a sleep regression, about 3 weeks before I discovered the access logs. She had been sleeping through the night reliably since about 4 months old. Then suddenly she was waking at almost exactly 2 a.m. every night, crying, unsettled, taking 30 to 40 minutes to go back to sleep. My wife and I were exhausted. We assumed it was developmental, a growth phase, new awareness, the kind of sleep disruption that baby books prepare you for. I only checked the monitor access logs because the monitor itself behaved strangely one evening while my wife and I were watching it. We were in the living room after our daughter had gone to bed. The monitor display was on the coffee table showing her sleeping. I noticed the camera image shift slightly, a very small movement, as if the camera had panned fractionally to the left and then returned to its original position. I assumed it was an app glitch. I mentioned it to my wife. She said she had noticed similar small movements before but had also assumed it was a glitch. I opened the monitor app and went to the settings. I found the access log. The log showed every device that had connected to the monitor. Our phones, listed, expected. Then a third entry. An external device. Not our phones. A different device identifier. Connected every night for the past 3 weeks. Between 1:45 and 2:15 a.m. 30 minutes. Every night without exception. I read the log 3 times. Then I checked the monitor's activity log, the record of what the camera had done during each session. The external device had been panning the camera. Left and right sweeps across the room. The night vision had been switched on and off, presumably to get a clearer image in different lighting conditions. And on 11 of the 22 nights the two-way audio had been activated from the external device. The microphone in our daughter's room had been used to listen to the room. 22 nights. Our daughter waking at 2 a.m. every night. I sat in the living room after my wife had gone to bed and I thought about what this meant. About someone looking into our daughter's room every night. About the camera panning across her sleeping form. About the microphone listening to the sounds of a sleeping baby. I did not sleep that night. The next morning I called the baby monitor manufacturer. Their security team confirmed the external access. They confirmed the device identifier was not associated with any account we had created. They told me the monitor's default password, which I had never changed from the factory setting, was a known vulnerability. A 4-digit code that was the same for every monitor of that model sold. Available online. Known to anyone who looked for it. I had never changed the default password. The security team removed the external access. They walked me through setting a strong unique password and enabling account authentication. They filed a security incident report. They asked me if I wanted to contact the police. Said yes. The police reviewed the access logs and confirmed external access. They said the device identifier was consistent with a mobile device operating through a VPN, which made tracing it significantly more difficult. The case was opened. It has not been resolved. Our daughter's room now has no connected devices. No smart monitor. A basic audio-only monitor with no network connectivity. The kind that cannot be accessed remotely because it has no remote access capability. I replaced every smart device in our home with the most basic non-connected alternative available. Some people have told me this is an overreaction. I do not think it is an overreaction. I think about the camera panning across our daughter's room at 2 a.m. while she slept. I think about the microphone listening to the sounds of a 7-month-old child on 11 of those nights. I think about the 30-minute window. Every night. 3 weeks. I think about the fact that I never changed the default password. 4 digits. Factory setting. Available online. That is what it cost. James discovered the access to his daughter's room because the camera moved. The last story is about someone who discovered the access because of what his voice assistant had been asked. Not by him. By someone else. While he slept. For 4 months. 4 months of commands I did not give. All between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. All while I was asleep. Someone had been using my voice assistant while I slept to search my home. My schedule. My daily routine. My security setup. And 3 days ago at 2 a.m., while I was asleep in the next room, someone asked my assistant whether my front door was currently locked. My name is Kevin and I work from home. I have a smart home setup that I built over about 2 years. Voice assistant, smart lights, smart thermostat, smart locks. The kind of incremental smart home that most people build gradually by adding one device at a time until they have a system. I discovered the command history by accident 4 months after the commands began. I was trying to find a timer I had set the previous week, a recurring reminder that I wanted to edit. I went into the voice assistant's full command history rather than the recent commands list. The full history goes back significantly further than the recent list. I was scrolling through looking for the timer when I noticed commands I did not recognize. Set a reminder for 6:45 a.m. weekdays. What time does the pharmacy on the high street open? Is the back door locked? What is the make and model of the front door smart lock? These were not my commands. The reminder time was wrong. I get up at 7:30, not 6:45. I do not use the pharmacy on the high street. I had not asked about my back door. I had not asked about my smart lock model. I scrolled back further. The unrecognized commands began 4 months ago. They appeared exclusively between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. My recognized commands, the ones I gave during the day, were interspersed throughout normal waking hours. The 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. window contained only unrecognized commands. I went through them systematically. The first month was orientation. Searches for local services, pharmacy, GP surgery, late night shops. Queries about my postcode, my street name, the nearest bus stop. Someone learning the geography of my immediate area through my voice assistant. The second month moved inside. Queries about my smart lock models, my security system brand, whether my cameras were recording continuously or on motion detection only. Someone mapping my home security setup. The third month was routine. What time did I set my morning alarm? What was my work schedule? What time did my connected devices typically go into standby? When was I usually home? Someone building a profile of my daily pattern. The fourth month, the most recent month, was specific. Queries about whether individual locks were engaged. Whether the security system was armed, whether the motion sensors were active, whether the cameras were currently recording, someone using my voice assistant to monitor my home security status in real time, and the final command. 3 days ago, 2:17 a.m. Is the front door locked? I had read that command 3 days ago when I discovered the history. I had sat in my kitchen at 7 in the morning reading a command that had been given to my voice assistant 6 hours earlier while I was asleep in the next room. Someone had asked my front door lock status 3 days ago. 6 hours before I found out they had been using my assistant for 4 months. I called the police that morning. They reviewed the command history. They confirmed commands inconsistent with my usage patterns. They said the commands had been given locally, not remotely through an app. Locally, meaning whoever gave the commands was within the activation range of the device. The activation range of my voice assistant is approximately 10 meters. My voice assistant sits on the kitchen counter. 10 meters from the kitchen counter covers the kitchen, the dining room, and the hallway. The hallway that leads to the front door. Someone had been in my home between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. for 4 months giving commands to my voice assistant. The commands were given locally. They were in the house. I will not walk you through everything that followed because some of it is still ongoing and my solicitor has advised me to be careful about what I say publicly. What I can tell you is that I do not live in that house anymore. I stayed with my brother for 6 weeks while the police investigation proceeded. The house has been sold. I have a new home now. No smart devices. No voice assistant. No connected locks. Basic security. Physical keys. A system that cannot be queried at 2 a.m. because it has no voice and no network connection and no command history. Some people have told me that I gave up a lot of convenience. I tell them that convenience is not the word I use for what I gave up. Is the front door locked? 3 days ago, 2:17 a.m. While I slept. I think about that command more than I think about anything else from those 4 months. Not the 4 months of searching. Not the security mapping. Not the routine profiling. The front door question. 3 days before I found out. 6 hours before I found out. Is the front door locked? 3 smart home devices. 3 people who trusted them. 3 different ways of discovering that someone else had access. Donna's security system disarmed on a precise schedule using her own credentials while she was out. She did not know for 6 weeks. James and his wife thought their daughter's 2 a.m. waking was a sleep regression. It was not. Someone had been accessing the camera in her room every night for 3 weeks. And Kevin found 4 months of commands in his voice assistant history that he did not give. All between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. All while he slept. The last 3 days before he found out. 3 things to do right now before you close this video. Open every smart home app on your phone. Go to the access logs. Check every account that has access to every device. If you see an account you do not recognize, remove it immediately. Change the default password on every smart device you own. Factory default passwords are available online. They are the single most common entry point for unauthorized smart home access. Check your voice assistant command history. Not the recent commands. The full history. Scroll back. Read what was asked. Make sure every command was yours. If any part of these stories felt familiar, a device that behaved strangely, an access log that did not add up, a command you did not give, drop it in the comments. Subscribe to Midnight Scary Stories for new videos every week. Turn on notifications. And check your smart home access logs tonight. Just to be safe.